Hello and welcome to Money Markets and More with me, Dominic Frisby, coming to you as always from the graveyard. Before we get started today, I just wanted to flag two articles. First, my special report on helium, and second, Dr. John's latest article on bonds. They're both available on my Substack, both for paying subscribers. Lots of valuable info to be had. I'll put links in the description. Please check them out. So, to today's vlog. There's lots of valuable info to be had, all that stuff. Right. Every December, Saxobank puts out 10 outrageous predictions for the year ahead. It doesn't claim that those predictions will happen, but that they could happen. And the purpose of the exercise is to stimulate thought, discussion, and debate. And that is what Saxobank has achieved, because today we consider its 10 outrageous predictions for 2023. A reminder, they are Saxobank's predictions, not mine. I went back to look at their predictions for 2022 to see if any of them actually happened. And the very first was, the plan to end fossil fuels gets a rain check. Net zero hasn't been abandoned, not yet, but this year has certainly seen quite a dramatic change in attitude towards fossil fuels. And the second was that Facebook faceplants on youth exodus. Well, Facebook has certainly face-planted, but I wasn't aware the youth were ever on it. But anyway, after reading those first two predictions, I was about to bestow Nostradamus-like status on Saxobank, but the rest of their 22 predictions didn't really pan out, but that's not the point of them. Anyway, I'm not going to go through them here. They're in the past. Nobody can do anything about the past. It's the future that we need to worry about. So, to 2023. And Saxobank describes the year as a war economy. The days of low interest rates and a harmonious world built on renewable energy, equality and independent central banks are gone. Now, sovereign economic gains and self-reliance trump globalization. That's the macro. Let's get on to the specifics. Prediction 1. The pressing global energy needs drive the world's richest to launch an R&D project in a size the world hasn't seen since the Manhattan Project gave America its first atomic bomb. Well, you can bet your bottom dollar that they're talking about it, but I don't think it happens. Not this year anyway, not just yet. Apart from anything else, somebody would have to organise it. Prediction 2 says that due to the political stalemate in France and the rise of Marie Le Pen since the 2022 elections, President Macron resigns. Now, I don't see that happening either. France's daft electoral system is what has enabled him to be president. The political stalemate means that he stays president. Presidents like Macron don't resign unless they're forced to. Too big an ego. Though this McKinsey affair does seem to be hurting him. Prediction 3, the gold price goes to $3,000. Now, you are talking my language. Says Saxobank, as markets and central banks realise that the idea that inflation is transitory is wrong and that prices will remain higher for longer, gold is sent through the roof. To rocket, gold needs inflation expectations to be markedly higher than government bond yields. Negative real rates, in other words. In America, we don't have that yet. Saxobank is describing a situation where we do. So I guess I've got to be straight with you. I don't think gold goes to 3,000 in 2023. Got a better chance of going to £3,000. Prediction 4 suggests an EU army is coming and that it forces the EU down the path to full union. Now, we know that despite denials, the EU has been talking about an army for years. And with that man, Mr. Putin, on the doorstep, the need gets rather more pressing. It's possible, but it needs the US to take a backward step in its global policeman role. Something that President Biden and the US military-industrial complex seem unlikely to do. Like many of Saxobank's predictions, I've no doubt it's coming, just not next year. So we've come to prediction number 5, and one that made me smile. In an effort to become one of the global leaders on the path to net zero emissions, one country decides to not only put a heavy tax on meat, but to ban domestic production entirely. Now, I'd never thought about this before, but I do now think about it, and I know it's inevitable. Under the pretense of climate change, somewhere is going to impose meat taxes. I don't think meat production will be banned, that's too big a political ask, but meat taxes are coming. And if you've read the definitive book on taxation, that is Daylight Robbery, you will know that taxes are easily imposed, often for moral reasons, but not so easily gotten rid of. Meat taxes are coming. Again, maybe not next year, but they are coming. And it will be for your own good. Once imposed, they will stay. Right, prediction 6 suggests that the UK will hold a referendum to wind back Brexit. Now, Brigret is a big thing in the UK. A recent YouGov poll found that only 32% now think leaving the European was a good idea, and 56% say it was a mistake. The Conservative Party have made the most almighty balls up of the opportunity. They probably didn't even realise it was an opportunity. The primary reason given for voting leave was sovereignty, yet as people trafficking and illegal migrant crossings show, they have been unable to even police our borders. No wonder only 21% think Brexit is going well. There will be calls for another referendum, but the Tories won't have it on their watch, and I suspect Keir Starmer will be too scared of losing red wall votes to make it an electoral pledge. So I doubt we will see a referendum, not next year, even if the sentiment is there. Prediction 7 is next, and that is for widespread price controls to cap official inflation. Now, inflation and price controls are forever partnered, and war is never far away from that dancing duo. We've already seen plenty of new price controls this year, though. Will we see yet more? Probably. And so to prediction 8, and this is one I do see coming. Well, I see a watered-down version coming, and again, maybe not as soon as next year, but here we go. OPEC Plus and Chindia walk out of the IMF, agree to trade with a new reserve asset. Now, de-dollarization is a big theme, especially for those nations that make up the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which is Russia, China, India, and Iran, and pretty much every nation between. They are not allies of the US, and they want a non-US dollar asset they can trade with. The problem is, what is that asset? I have some ideas, obviously, but I don't necessarily see them walking out the IMF, but some non-US dollar international asset is coming, or they'll use an existing one. Before the end of next year? Possibly, I doubt it. Might be gold, might even be Bitcoin, might be something else. Prediction 9, and we're almost there. Japan fixes its currency to the US dollar at 200 as it overhauls its financial system. Well, the yen has been a basket case, even worse than the pound, believe it or not. And I'll put a chart up here. You can see it against the dollar over the last decade. If the chart is rising, it means the dollar's getting stronger. But you can see it's turned. And this is as much as a function of US dollar strength as it is yen weakness. It's both. And Japanese monetary policy, I should say. So to get to 200, it's not that big an ask. But the US dollar's pulled back a bit. Japan has tightened its rates. The yield has changed on its bonds. So I think we've already reversed. But to go to 200 and then get pegged, I'm not sure. And finally, prediction 10. Tax haven ban kills private equity, says Saxobank. Now, the OECD countries turn their attention on tax havens and pull the big guns out, banning them altogether. Now, the OECD has been wanting to do that for yonks. It's not been able to find a way. Maybe war gives them the excuse, I'm not so sure. The practicalities are difficult. You can't ban Panama, you can't ban Switzerland. Saxobank, however, explains how it would work. The OEC would launch a full ban on the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, the Bahamas, Mauritius, and the Isle of Man. The ban means that corporate acquisitions in OECD countries cannot be made with capital arriving from tax haven entities, only from OECD countries or countries that adopt OECD transparency standards on capital, which would include the automatic exchange of information, beneficial ownership registration, and country-by-country reporting. Ooh. This would decimate private equity. You can be sure that the motivation is there. Will it happen? It depends on how nuts things get. Things are getting nuts. Thank you very much for watching. I'll have my own predictions probably in a couple of weeks, early next year. Please subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to my Substack. If you're interested in buying gold, I'll put a link to the Pure Gold Company. Have you got your kisses on a postcard CDs yet? If not, why? And that's about everything I have to market. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back with another video very soon.